Hey guys, BoHD here from How To and More, and today I'll be reviewing arguably one of the best tablets money can buy right now, the new Nexus 7. We'll be going over everything from the HD screen to the stock Android experience and everything in between, so let's just go ahead and get started by starting with the hardware. Taking a look at the outside of the Nexus 7, you'll immediately notice the clean front of the device with no logos or abnormalities, while the back has a really nice, almost rubbery grip to it that feels really nice on the hands and isn't slimy like the back of a lot of phones and tablets currently on the market. The Nexus 7 logo is also kind of indented into the back, which actually makes it much easier to hold onto and grip the device, so that's definitely a win. But as far as buttons go, the Nexus 7 has your standard power and volume up and down controls on the right hand side, with nothing on the left hand side. Up top lies your standard 3.5mm headphone jack, while the bottom holds your micro USB plug. On the front of the Nexus 7, you'll find the ambient light sensor and 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, along with the notification light down below at the bottom of this tablet instead of at the top like most other Android devices. If we flip this tab over, you'll find the 5 megapixel camera on the back in the upper left-hand corner with the Nexus and Asus branding down below. Now this button layout is pretty standard for most Android devices on the market, so you really shouldn't have any problem finding everything you're looking for when you're using the Nexus 7. Now when you first power on the Nexus 7, you will immediately notice the bright and vivid HD display with a 1080p resolution. This has been of course a big marketing campaign by Google, but it is the highest resolution display on any 7-inch tablet. With all that advertising aside, there is no doubt this screen is amazing. I mean, text and videos look extremely sharp, which really makes the Nexus 7 a true media consuming powerhouse. I would have liked to see Asus equip this tablet with an AMOLED display, but it all comes down to personal preference when it comes to screen technology, and to be honest, this LCD screen is not bad at all, and it's actually one of the best I've seen on the market, so I really can't be disappointed at all. Now to power this high resolution display, Google equipped the Nexus 7 with a quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, clocked at 1.5 GHz that comes with 2 GB of RAM, and an Adreno 320 GPU. So that was a mouthful, but while this processor is by no means the newest processor on the market, it really doesn't matter at all because this tablet is really fast. Like seriously, it is so buttery smooth and fast, it feels like it's being powered by a brand new processor. Applications open quickly and I can just fly through this tablet opening and closing applications with no problems or hiccups at all, and it's just really a unique experience that you can just really only get with stock Android 4.3. And keep in mind, I say this because I've used the HTC One and Galaxy S4 and various other new devices, and while they are definitely fast, they don't feel as smooth as a Nexus product. And I will note that this is my first Nexus device, and it is running Android 4.3 Jelly Bean, but I'm still blown away by how fast this tablet performs compared to many other higher spec devices. So basically, if you are an Android fan and have not used a Nexus product, you really need to, because the experience is like none other, and even from someone who has used CyanogenMod to try and replicate that stock Android feel, it just doesn't come close to the true stock Android experience. So I could talk about this OS all day, but I want to take a look at the camera because this is a new add-on over the previous generation. Now the Nexus 7 is equipped with a 5 megapixel camera, and while this is among the lower megapixel camera sensors on most devices, the camera quality is decent, it's not bad at all. It'll definitely be able to handle all your picture taking needs, and it's nice to have because you never know when you'll need to scan a barcode or take a picture when you don't have your phone around. Also, you can now use stock Android camera features like photosphere, so that's pretty cool, but the bottom line is that this camera will be able to get the job done, but at the end of the day you're using a tablet to take pictures, and that's just plain weird. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the battery life, since it's very important, especially since the Nexus 7 doesn't have a removable back to swap out batteries. With that being said, it does pack a 3950 mAh battery, which is actually lower than the previous Nexus 7's 43-2500 mAh battery. While this seems disappointing, it still gets you about 2.5 days of moderate use, as the new version of Android 4.3 dramatically improves battery life. For example, the standby time is so good that if I put the Nexus 7 to sleep before I go to bed, I can wake up the next day with only 1% of the battery drained. So for this reason alone, I can say the battery life is solid and should really be no problem getting you around 8 hours of heavy use. Now to wrap up this review, there's only one thing I haven't talked about yet, and that is arguably one of the best features, which is the $229 price tag. This price, paired with the fast processor, amazing display, and the buttery smoothness of Android 4.3 just makes this the best tablet money can buy right now. When people ask me about other tablets such as the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3 8.0, which I recently reviewed, I just find it so hard to recommend any other tablet that's not the Nexus 7 just because it's so much cheaper than most other tablets and the experience is just unrivaled. But this is of course my opinion, so I want to ask you guys, what do you think of the new Nexus 7? Do you plan on getting one later, or do you already have one now? Let me know down below in a comment and you could be featured in my next video. If you like this video, you can always subscribe up above or down below depending on where you're watching this video, and if you're already subscribed, I just want to say thanks for your support. You guys are awesome. So that'll about do it for this video, guys. If you haven't checked out my last video taking a look at the top 5 ways to use Google Chromecast, you can do that right down below, and you can also check out my unboxing and first impressions of the Nexus 7 if that piques your interest. But as always, guys, I'm BoHD from How To and More. Thanks for watching.